Welcome to Matchday 10 of Championship Predictions from the Sport Podcast. I'm Craig Sadler. With me, as always, is Daniel Cody and Charlie Betts. Let's review Matchday 9. It was a fantastic performance by Charlie on predictions. He got 3 correct scores for Barnsley against Watford, Middlesbrough versus Forest, and Stoke versus Rotherham. I got 2 perfect scores. Thank God I got 2 perfect scores. It was absolutely disastrous. I got them in Swansea versus Blackburn and Wycombe versus Sheffield Wednesday. Daniel Cody only got the 1 correct, and that was also Swansea versus Blackburn. So how's the points overall? So Charlie won Matchday 9 with 10 points. Then myself and Daniel Cody getting 7 points, and now the table looks like this. I still lead at the top with 61 points with 10 perfect scores. Daniel Cody is on 57 with 6 perfect scores, and Charlie closes the gap a little bit. He's on 51 with 7 perfect scores.
Can I say, Craig, I think that across the podcast is our best performance consistently for a week, where all 3 of us managed to exceed 5 points.
Yes, so well done to everyone. Let's move on to Matchday 10. It's the final midweek fixtures before the next international break. Let's start off with the first 7 p.m. kickoff on Tuesday. It's Brentford versus Swansea. 2 teams doing really well. 2 teams picked up 3 valuable points yesterday, very convincingly from Saturday. Brentford won 3-0 at Luton, and Swansea obviously won 2-0 against Blackburn. I'm going to start off with Daniel Cody.
Well, I wish you'd been right there, and Brentford had won 3-1 at Luton because I was beating everyone there. This is quite hard for me because Swansea, you mentioned, are in good form, but their last 2 away games finished 1-1, and we all know that's my favourite scoreline. In terms of Brentford, they were brilliant away at Luton. I saw most of it. I had it on the laptop next to the MK Dons game I was watching in the flesh. At home, the last game was a 1-1 draw against Norwich. They beat Coventry, who were poor, and lost against Preston. So I don't really know where to go with this. I think the safest option for me is a draw. And because it's my favourite scoreline, although there's a lot of 2s on the page for both of them, I'm going to stick with 1-1.
Charlie?
It is tough because I agree, because I think Swansea are unbeaten away from home as well. And once you throw that in there, as great as Brentford are, and obviously Ivan Toney, as you've been talking about, Craig, has now definitely hit a bit of form. I think I'm going to go down the middle with a draw, but I think there's going to be a lot more goals. I think there's too many good strikers in both teams for there to only be 2 goals in the whole game. So I think it'll be a draw. I think it'll be double what Dan's gone for. I'm going to go for 2-2.
Oh, this is a really tough one. Swansea's second in the table now. Brentford in 9th. Obviously, both teams doing really well. Both teams scored for fun. Ivan Toney, 9 goals in 9 games now for Brentford. So it's a brilliant return. So money looks like it's well spent at the moment for Brentford. So good bit of business. I don't want to go say for a draw because you've both gone for draws. I think Brentford might sneak this one. Brentford are going to sneak this one 2-1. I'm not sure.
No, it wouldn't shock me.
Next up, it's Huddersfield versus Bristol City. Huddersfield, a brilliant 3-0 away win at Millwall. I don't think anyone saw that one come in. Bristol City lost 3-1 to Norwich, a terrible penalty by Naki Wells. It was awful, absolutely awful. Charlie, we said about Bristol City, obviously, since after the international break, they've lost a bit of form, and you can clearly see that's happening.
I mean, to be honest, I think we probably are, it makes you realise even professional football, we talk about when we play Sunday League, about momentum, and if you have a week off because of the rain or, the other team not having enough players or something like that, it definitely does affect you. And I think it's exactly the same in the professional ranks. I think, we think because they train every day, it doesn't affect you, but clearly it does, because Bristol City are literally the epitome of that, of a team who are flying before the international break, have a week off, and then it all goes to pot, because really since they haven't looked convincing at all. Everything has to go for a Huddersfield win, really. It'd be interesting to see what happens after this next international break, whether that gives them a time to then recuperate and they build from there again. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how Bristol City play out the next break they've got. But yeah, in terms of a prediction, I have to go for Huddersfield. I know that at home they're not necessarily as strong as they are away, but I don't know, Bristol City just seems to be in free fall. So I'm going to have to go for Huddersfield win. I don't think it'll be as resounding as it was the other day. I'm only going to go for 2-0 Huddersfield.
To be honest, I think Bristol City will want to stop the rot. 3 defeats out of the last 5 for Bristol City. Obviously, 2 draws in there, but they really need to stop the rot. And obviously, Huddersfield will be absolutely buoyant from that 3-0 win in Millwall. All right, it might be 2 late goals, but they still took their chances and kept Millwall out. But I'm going to go for the Daniel Cody scoreline of a 1-1 draw. Cody.
I mean, between you've stolen all of the notes I had for this game, because on paper, it can only go one way, but it's whether Bristol City bounce back. They have picked up a couple of points. They haven't won in 5, though. So, I mean, I think everyone's going against a Bristol City win, but then we saw what happened with a couple of other games this week. It was a brilliant win. Result of the weekend for Huddersfield. Fair play to them at Millwall, as Craig said. Even if anyone had predicted a Huddersfield win, no one would have had it by 3 goals. So I'm going to back them, even though, as Charlie mentioned, they're not quite as good at home, to get a result. And I'm going to go for a narrow one. I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory.
Up next, it's Norwich City versus Millwall at Carrow Road. Norwich picked up a 3-1 win, we just said about Bristol City. Millwall obviously lost to Huddersfield. So, Code, Norwich starting to hit form again. Team and Pookie starting to score goals now.
It was inevitability, wasn't it? Last time they were in the Championship, it was fantastic. Started like a house on fire in the Premier League. And I don't think he's entirely to blame. His goals dried up when most of the service did, in fairness. So I think he'll be one of the top scorers in the Championship. I think I had them to go up via the playoffs, if I remember rightly. So hopefully that will remain the case. I can only see them winning this game. I think we said about Millwall last midweek that to get the result against Preston, maybe they'd done well without the senior management team. But Huddersfield was the first game they'd probably prepared for in training without the senior management team available. And it's going to have an impact if you've lost nearly all of your coaching staff for a week. And that's going to be the case for this game as well. So I can only see it being a home win. To be honest, it's how many. I think Norwich will score 3 again. I think Millwall will concede 3 again. But Norwich poor at the back, so they'll let one in. 3-1 to Norwich.
Just a quick note there, you didn't have Norwich for the playoffs.
Did I not?
No, you put them in the playoffs, but you didn't pick them to go up.
Well, that's going to be a regret.
Yes, Norwich. Excellent 3-1 win. Millwall, obviously, their first defeat for a while. You can look at training point of view. Obviously, when all your coaching staff is not there, it doesn't really help. I don't think Millwall will go on a bad run. I just think they're playing against a side that are better at the moment. But I do agree that Norwich are going to win. I think Norwich are going to win this one 2-0. Charlie?
Yeah, I think all 3 of us are going for a Norwich win. I think it's the score. I'm looking at the numbers, and if I'm honest, Millwall are a bit better away from home, and they don't concede as many away from home as what they do at home. Norwich are looking very good, obviously, and we've spoken about that. But I do think that Millwall do provide a good defensive test for them. So I do think Norwich will win, but I think it'll be a narrow 1-0 win this time.
Up next, it's Sheffield Wednesday against the only team left unbeaten in the Championship. And that's Bournemouth. Sheffield Wednesday lost to a relegation rival in Wycombe. Congratulations to Wycombe. We'll get onto them a bit later. But once again, it's another defeat against a team that should be in their area. Not convincing at all. They had most of the possession against Wycombe. Obviously haven't scored again, which is really, really concerning when you've got a very good attack in front. Bournemouth, on the other hand, a point against Derby. I think they'd be slightly disappointed that they only got the point. 4 wins and 5 draws now for Bournemouth. Obviously got that 8 equaliser from Riquelme. I don't think Bournemouth have been spectacular so far this season. But Sheffield Wednesday have been ranked poor. Like I said, last predictions show.
It's kind of a favourite phrase with them, isn't it?
Ranked poor. They are ranked poor. And I no doubt some Sheffield Wednesday fans will tell you they should be beating teams like Wycombe, like they said about teams like Luton. So I don't think they're going to get anything out of this game either. Obviously, the points gap now between Sheffield Wednesday and Wycombe is got bigger. You're pretty much still playing catch up from the 12 points you lost from the start of the season. I don't see anything from Sheffield Wednesday from this game. I think Bournemouth will win this one 2-0. Charlie?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it'll be a Bournemouth win. I don't want to talk about bankers, but the way it's going at the minute, Sheffield Wednesday just can't seem to buy a goal. If you look at their squad on paper, it doesn't make much sense. There has to be, I know there's the whole thing of the points deduction, but there has to be something else going on there. I'm not saying Sheffield Wednesday would be a team that would be in the top 3, but they have a good squad. They've got good Championship players who played before, so I don't really understand what's going on there. I'm looking at Bournemouth, and I do agree with you. I think Bournemouth will win. I think, though, they've only really scored a goal a game, and on average, I mean, if you average out the results so far, so everything points to a Bournemouth win. So I'm going to go for my favourite score of the week so far, which is 1-0 Bournemouth.
Cody?
I have to agree with Charlie on the scoreline, unfortunately. It was very clear looking at the stats. Bournemouth quite often score 1, couple of away wins, unbeaten on the road. Sheffield Wednesday, as Craig mentioned, 3 of the 5 favourites for relegations they've played in the last 3 games. They haven't scored a goal and they've lost all of them. It's a really worrying time. They're awful at home and have been for a while, still yet to get that home win. And I can only see after the freefall they had towards the second half of last season, I think Gary Monk might end up being our next managerial episode, unfortunately. So as a result, I'm going to say the same as Charlie. I was tempted to go 2, but Bournemouth aren't scoring goals. So 1-0 Bournemouth as well for me.
Let's move on to the 7:45 games on Tuesday. It's Blackburn Rovers versus Middlesbrough. Blackburn lost again to Swansea, 2-0 defeat. Middlesbrough, I've gone under the radar. They're 5th in the Championship. How did that happen? Obviously, Neil Warnock doing the Neil Warnock things. Charlie, do you see another Middlesbrough win?
We talk about the Championship inconsistency. I don't know with Blackburn. You know, we spoke about, and they nearly put 3 past Reading, as famously the other day, and then drew up a blank on Saturday. So yeah, it's got to be a Middlesbrough win for me. I think I feel bad for saying this, but I just sort of think that Neil Warnock loves a 1-0 win, and I keep going for 1-0. So maybe I should change that. But they did it against Forest as well. I think this suits Neil Warnock a bit. You can have a team that's going to go flying forward like Blackburn, and he's the master of soaking it up. So I'm going to go for it. Actually, no, do you know what? I'm going to change it. I think they'll go 1-0 up and they'll sneak another late one late on. Blackburn will leave holes at the back. 2-0 Middlesbrough.
Cody.
Well, Charlie's late change means we have the same scoreline for the second game in a row because I had 2-0 and I was desperately hoping he wouldn't. I mean, really, as Charlie's got Middlesbrough right 2 match days in a row, we should all copy him when he does a Middlesbrough scoreline. The only thing I got right last weekend, I didn't get much right, but I said that Blackburn would draw a blank after a couple of great weeks in front of goal, and they did just that. They're so inconsistent, and at home, as Charlie says, they've not been great. So no, Middlesbrough to win. It's whether it's 1 or 2-0, but Blackburn are so poor at the back. I can see it being 2 or possibly even more, but I think Neil will shut up shop at 2-0. So 2 goals, but the second one won't come late, like Charlie said.
I have to agree that I think Middlesbrough actually win this game. I did originally have 1-1, and then I looked at the table properly, and Blackburn obviously really poor form at home. Middlesbrough doing Middlesbrough things, as I said. I think that Middlesbrough will score 2, but I think, as I said, Blackburn do score at home. But I think they will only score 1. I think that Middlesbrough will win 2-1. Next up, it's Cardiff City versus Barnsley. Cardiff lost to QPR with a late wonder goal, I'll be honest.
I'll wait for Charlie's view on that.
We'll get to QPR. A little bit later. Barnsley have beat Watford 2 wins in a row now. Just looking at Barnsley's stats against Watford, 7 shots, 2 on target. The more important thing is they didn't have a single shot on target against them. Yeah. So defensively, they're doing a brilliant job so far with 2 wins and 2 clean sheets. Cody, do you see a clean sheet run going for Barnsley, or do you think Cardiff will actually turn around?
I don't see the clean sheet run continuing. The only reason is Barnsley's away form would suggest that won't happen. Obviously, we haven't seen an away game under Ishmael, so we don't know how that will happen. The one thing we have both got right is the new manager bounce has been well and truly kicking this time. I mean, Cardiff are in woeful form. What a poor start they've had. I can't see Cardiff winning a game. I think the new manager bounce will continue to an extent, but I think Barnsley will concede goals. So I'm going to go for a draw, and I'm going to go for my game of Tuesday night. It's going to be 2-2.
I'm not sure on this one, again, to be honest. It's Cardiff down in 17th, not scoring many as well. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to stick with the new manager bounce. I think if Barnsley win this game, I think they'll be fine for the rest of the season. I think Barnsley are going to win this one 2-1. Charlie.
Annoyingly, he's nicked my score, but I don't know. Barnsley have got goals. I'm hoping maybe for a late one again. I'm banking on a lot of Championship games where teams go flying forward in the last 5 minutes. Yeah, I agree with you, lads. To be honest, it's hard to talk about Barnsley's form because obviously the change of manager. You know, Cardiff haven't won at home yet, so it still doesn't look great for them. Barnsley are just in great form, and they seem to be, like you say, I do think they leak goals away. So I'm going to say I think Cardiff might get 1, Barnsley will get 2, but then they'll get a late third one, so 3-1 Barnsley. Let's
move on to Wednesday and the early kickoffs on that one, 7 p.m. Reading, who lost to Coventry, their unbeaten run is over, but they're still top of the league by 4 points. They're playing Preston North End, where Preston, on the other hand, have just been woeful the last few games. They lost again to Birmingham City. Oh, where do you start from this one, Cody?
Well, you say Preston have been woeful, and that is the case at home. On the road, they have been scintillating. And now Jayden Stockley's back amongst the goals. Not sure that he'll score one like that ever again, but still.
Oh, it was a great goal.
Oh, unbelievable. Goal. If only he could have done that for Luton. But still, on the road, Preston are brilliant. They score goals. They're exciting to watch. They are the complete antithesis of what they are at home, basically. For Reading, it's so hard to predict because we said the run's going to end eventually. But the question is now for all of us, do the wheels fall off the wagon? And we really don't know. What I will say about Reading is all of their last games have been high-scoring ones at both ends, and Preston on the road haven't been completely clear at the back. Only against QPR have they kept a clean sheet on the road. I think it will be a Preston win, and I know that's probably going to be controversial, but I'm going to go for a big scoring one. I'm going to go for 4-2. 4-2 Preston. Let's have a classic.
He's trying to repeat the Preston-Brentford game. Charlie.
Well, you've got basically the best team at home playing the best team away in the league. So I have to go down the middle. I have to go for a draw. Reading do score a lot, but they concede a lot. So I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be quite a few goals in this. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, literally because it's the best team away versus the best team at home.
Well, one of us is going to get 1 point at least. The goals Reading conceded from Friday night against Coventry. I watched the game, and the first goal, it was a good strike, to be fair. Nothing you could have done. Second goal was a long-range shot. Keeper might have done a bit better, I think, to say, but good instincts on the rebound. The third goal was a joke, to be honest. It's really poor goal. And yes, the ball swerved a little bit, but the goalkeeper's got to do. He's right there. He's got to do better. But you have to give Coventry credit. I'm not going to dismiss Coventry on that one. I think Reading will want to bounce back. They will bounce back. Preston, yeah, as you said, they're pretty good away from home, but I don't see them scoring. I think Reading will win this one 2-0. Next up, it's Watford versus Stoke. I do not see a good game in this one, to be honest. Watford lost to Barnsley 1-0. Stoke picked up a victory. I don't see many goals in this game. I don't see many shots in this game. I do see both teams conceding the goal in each game, going right down the middle, 1-1. Charlie.
I agree with you on the draw. I'm going to go a step further, Craig. I don't see any goals in this game. I think I watched an Irish League match the other night, and it was basically a chess match. And I think this will be exactly the same. It will be two teams that are their game is built upon soaking up pressure and hitting the other team on the counter-attack, which is going to be quite hard if the other team is also doing the same. So I don't see a lot of attacking threat. I think there's going to be a lot of possession from both teams. I can't see this being an exciting game whatsoever. So sadly, as much as it's two of the bigger teams, in the league, I can't actually see any goals. So I'm going to have to go for a 0-0. I think it'll be two teams that are too strong at the back and too scared of going forward and committing too many men forward, that it will end up just being a draw. So 0-0 for me.
Cody?
I've gone for a winner in this game, only because I watched Stoke's last midweek away game at Swansea, and there was not anything there that inspired me. And I know they won away at Luton, but if Luton had taken any of their chances, it would have been a comfortable home victory. So I can't see Stoke getting a point on the road. I know Watford haven't won in 3. I know they've had difficulties. Bournemouth, let's be honest, they were a minute away. Wycombe was a bizarre game. It sort of changed at half-time, and then the Barnsley one was a new manager bounce. So I'm going to get them to go back to winning ways. And as I've put them as my championship champions, they're going to nick a champion's victory, a 1-0, and it's not going to be a classic, as you two have alluded to.
Up next at St Andrews, it's Birmingham City versus Wycombe. Birmingham, excellent away victory at Preston. Wycombe have got their first win of the season. Congratulations to them. And guess what? It was from a set piece. What a surprise.
You nailed that.
I did nail that. I was
You
right.
did, to be fair, you did.
I was right. Yeah, Wycombe, on the other hand, I think, you know what? I don't think they're going to go on massive runs, but I can actually see them picking up more points again this week. If they win again Wednesday, it might move them out of the relegation side. No one would have thought of that about 3 games ago. So I think they can carry on. Obviously, Gareth Baines wasn't even at the game, I believe, yesterday. Obviously, we wish him a speedy recovery. But it seemed to work. They got their win. It was always going to be a tight one. I think Wycombe, do you know what? I'm going to go for a Wycombe win. I'm going to go for Wycombe win 2-1. Cody?
I don't think Wycombe will win this, but I carry on your theme that they'll carry on picking up points. Birmingham, after a poor run, back to form. 2 wins in a row. Good performances, although Preston are awful at home in the last one. But against Huddersfield, particularly a good result. And they've got that unbeaten bounce going. Karanka's starting to get some of that defensive solidity still going. They're not conceding more than 1 a game, and I don't think they will here either. Wycombe, albeit winning and getting a point in the game before, they still haven't scored more than 1 in a championship match this season. So I don't think there's going to be big goals in this one. I think it will be a very, very tense 1-1 draw.
Charlie?
Yeah, I think in the interest of the competition, and I think maybe just because of the way it's going at the minute with Birmingham, and they're a little bit of form now, I'm going to go for a sneak 1-0 Birmingham win. But I think Wycombe, as good as it is, Birmingham are physically a strong side, and I think that's maybe when those two styles clash, maybe I think Wycombe's advantage sometimes over teams like Watford, who like to play a lot of football, is actually that they're quite physical. But Wycombe's next game after that is Nottingham Forest, so you've got to be looking and thinking, Forest are a bit wishy-washy at the minute. They could still, if they get a win or a draw, like you two have predicted, and then possibly, Forest could implode, another win. That's another 4 points already. So be interesting. But I don't think they'll get that. I think Birmingham will win 1-0. But again, I don't think it'll be the most exciting game of football you're going to see. So 1-0 Birmingham.
Up next at Pride Park, it's Derby County versus Queen's Park Rangers. Derby 3 draws in a row now. Still haven't picked up a victory in the past 5 games. QPR 1-3-2 against Cardiff. Last 5 games, it's been a draw and loss, and a win. Absolute rocket in the 91st minute. Derby have only scored 5 goals this season. Very worrying. 3 of them, 3 kicks. Oh, God almighty. I don't know.
The hardest one out of all of them.
I found this easy.
I did have 2-1 QPR as my original pick, but I'm changing my mind. I've gone for 0-0.
Taking all the goals away.
I've taken 3 goals away from both teams. If Derby only scored 5, QPR scored 9, but they've conceded 12. Derby conceded 13. I can't see many goals. And to be honest, I'm going to predict 0-0, and there'll be a goal in the 3rd minute. Cody.
I've gone for a draw as well, but I've gone for 1-1, mainly because Derby have drawn the last 3 games by that scoreline. QPR, as you mentioned, draw, loss, win. It's the turn of a draw. They are inconsistent. And, whenever Derby play, there's 1 goal at each end. So why else would you go for anything else? It's going to be a 1-1 draw, and it is the one I am most certain of this weekend.
Charlie.
Well, I don't know how we predict it, because you're talking about the 2nd worst team at home versus the 3rd worst team in the league away. So, I mean, it is. I nearly got a dice out for this one, genuinely. I don't know. I agree. I can't see it being much. I actually don't know what I was going to say. I genuinely have no notes for this, because I think I cannot predict QPR anymore. I give up with it. So on that note, they might just suddenly then hit another vein of form. So I'm going to go that Derby might get a free kick and score 1, but QPR, unbelievably, are going to score, I don't know, 2 or 3. 3 goals, 3-1 QPR.
Up next, 21st versus 20th in the Championship table. It's Nottingham Forest versus Coventry. Nottingham Forest in the last 5, 1 win, 3 draws and a loss. Coventry picked up that win against the league leaders at the moment, despite also being in a poor reign of form. Cody, Nottingham Forest have only scored 5. Are you a bit worried by that?
Not so much. Lewis Grabban's woefully out of form. He was taken out the firing line. Against Luton, it was Lyle Taylor who started. They looked all right for us going forward. Coventry, not so great on the road. The last 2, they lost 2-0 against Brentford and Middlesbrough on the road. So I actually think this could be the game where Forest hit form. And to be fair, Brentford I said that about, and I got that right at the weekend. So hopefully it can be my one sound prediction. For Forest, I think any new manager that comes in, like a Chris Hughton, one of those experienced ones, they sort out the defence first and then work their way forward. So I think this will be the week where it starts to click a little. I'm not just going against Coventry. They were fantastic against Reading. And it's actually made me think possibly they'll stay up now against my earlier prediction. But I'm going to go for Forest to win this one. And out of nowhere, because it's an unpredictable league, I think they're going to nick a 2-0 victory. Coventry losing by the same on the road.
Charlie.
It's hard, because I understand what Dan says, and up to last week, every week I thought this will be the week that Forest turn it on, this will be the week they click, this will be the week that it all works for them, and it never has. So it's hard, isn't it? No, I agree with you. I do think Forest will win. I don't know if it'll be as convincing as 2-0. I don't know. They are a little bit, I don't use the word leaky. They do let in. I think Coventry might get 1, but I think Forest will get 2. 2-1 Forest, I think. I think they're just ever so slightly set to the back still.
I have to agree the same scoreline as Charlie Betts, to be honest. I don't think Forest are strong defensively. I think it's going to take time for Chris Hughton to sort it all out, as you guys said. I haven't had much time in the training field because obviously it's just been 3 days, game. Coventry on the other hand, great victory against Reading. How Reading play was made it easy for Coventry to actually attack, where I think Forest would be, as you said, Cody, would be a bit more defensively stout, probably harder to break down. Obviously, they didn't look like conceding the 2nd goal against Luton last week once they went down to 10 men. Yeah, Forest 2-1. I'm going to go for that. And the final game is Rotherham United versus Luton Town at the New York Stadium. Rotherham obviously lost to Stoke. Luton lost to Brentford. Cody, you watched the Luton game. How were Luton?
Paul, Brentford were fantastic. I think we made it a bit easier for them than we possibly needed to. And obviously, to be fair, I only had an eye and a half on the Luton game because I had the other half an eye pointing at the pitch and MK Dons. So,
yeah. So obviously, check that vlog out as well. That was out on Saturday. So
unless you don't like me, then ignore it.
Sorry, guys. Me and Charlie are not in this one.
For Rotherham, they're a little bit hit. I mean, both sides are a bit hit and miss. Luton are really struggling for goals. Rotherham lost 3-0, won 3-0, and then lost 1-0 against a good Stoke side. So I don't really know what to go for here. So because of that, I've just gone for the Championship's favourite score in mine. And I've gone for 1-1 with no other logic to it whatsoever.
Charlie.
I have to take a word from Dan's thing, and that is logic. That they've gone out the window with Luton. They're turning a little bit QPR-ish, and it's starting to concern me a little bit because they are getting a little bit harder to predict. I don't know why, for stupidly, the last 2 games I've backed them at home, and that was a big mistake. And I think we said from the beginning of the season, Nathan Jones and Luton are better away from home. So I'm going to apply that logic to this, and I do think Luton will win. It's what scoreline, that's the thing. Rotherham like to bomb forward, and I do think, similar to what I said before about other teams in the league, Luton are probably better at soaking up and down on the counter away from home. I don't know whether to go for 1-0 or 2-1, if I'm being brutally honest. I think Luton are going to hit a few goals. I think Collins and they will link up the play a lot better. 2-1 Luton Town. And I said that last week and they lost.
For the second fixture in a row, I have to agree with Charlie Betts on the 2-1 scoreline to Luton Town. Luton are better away from home. I don't understand why Luton are absolutely rubbish at home. I can't.
Because we're missing the crowd more than most sides.
Yeah, I think the pressure seems to be off away from home. It doesn't. It's very weird, and they seem to play better football. Yeah, I think obviously Rotherham. Yeah, I think Rotherham feel a bit hard done by losing to Stoke, to be honest. Yeah, but Luton on the other hand, yeah, I think Luton will want to bounce back again. Yeah, I think Nathan would change the players again. To be honest, obviously, yeah, Collins was on the bench. He would get back into the squad. Obviously, just recovering back from COVID. But yeah, I think it'd be 2-1 to Luton. Let's have a quick recap of our predictions of Matchday 10. I've gone for 6 2-1s this week. Cody's gone for 4 1-1s and a very expressive 4-2 victory for Preston at Reading. Charlie's ambitious QPR inconsistency of a 3-1 win. And those are predictions for Matchday 10. Let us know in the comment section down below if you agree with us, disagree with us. Give us your predictions. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on Twitter at OnSport4Free. And we'll see you next time.